protect her, or even to what? Mate her. So as less they have to kill, it doesn't it? It means that's less they have to kill, right? Then the women are killing off the other ones, sending them to all burger joints, unknowing to them. That's the carcasses after they've been stripped of their organs. Now that's another fact that our people, the reality of the thing is far uglier than people think it is. They bleed them, i.e. they take their blood, they take their organs, then they get rid of the carcass parts that they don't use and feed it back to the people through burger joints. That's a fact. That's your priesthood for you.
Next question. From DD, Dr. G, Grand Sheik. So the younger generation can know where can you find documentation the Moors founded the true Republic and Constitution?
Honestly, Confederation. As a matter of fact, you can. I think who exposed some of that, but you can do research. You do research on treaties, but I think Obama exposed that, and I think even Donald Trump signified that, and who else did? As far as the praetors are concerned, that stuff is not a secret.
I missed the comment, but I saw I think Christian Gagan said something to the effect that in spite of what the Board of Education's premise is, what they set out to do, nevertheless, we have had our scholars and philosophers
but it
and
shows
scientists.
You the strength of our people.
Yes.
It shows you the strength and the determination that even with all their efforts, they can't block out the sun. No matter how many chemtrails they use, whether it's physical or grammatical. So the chemtrails in the education system would be called connotative linguistics, which we've already been telling you about for years.
There's a question about the rise in, I saw it, no, something about the rise in interracial marriages. I know I saw something, but I don't know where. What's behind it? The rise, the increase in interracial, ethnic.
There's two things. Well, read out clear.
Advertising,
Give me some clear.
Well, they're asking me basically what's behind all what we're seeing about the.
I'll tell you. Clear the questions for the audience. Make the question clear, direct.
What do you think is behind the fact that they're showing in advertising and so forth a lot of interracial couples and whatever? And what do you is that again from a standpoint?
It's part of the social engineering. Number one, the hybrid knows in order for the hybrid Europeans to survive in the Uranus and Aquarian lights energies, etc., that the natural spacesuit, particularly for this corner or edge of the universe, etc., is called melanin. That's a natural spacesuit. Any being that's what you would call mutant, the sun will kill it. It is no different than if you pick up a rock and you find a plant and it has no melanin. If the chloroform does not start generating quickly, it will die. The same thing goes for the hybrid. That's a fact. That's number one. Number two, because the genetic structure is highly recessive, that means the nervous system will be attacked by the UV rays of the sun, which will also kill it and also make it short-lived. Therefore, like anything else, just like they've been doing these rituals for years, they've been stealing children to steal their melanin. Now, things are moving so fast, they're going to have to come out of the box and do what? Try to get some melanin to survive. That's number one. Number two, politically, the deal is the people are starting to figure out that these hybrids, many of them are colonists. They are not Americans, though they've been claiming to be Americans. So that political paradigm is dying, and therefore the people will stop asking for equality in their own damn house and start asking for their house back. So therefore, it is important for them, and this is happening in many so-called corporate state marriage cases, where certain, because as a matter of fact, one I could tell you about myself, I can tell you about with somebody I know absolutely who's a Moor who happened to be in matrimony to a European sister, and the European sisters, and it's about 15 years ago or more in that area, and it's in Jersey. I'll just tell you that much. And she went for a divorce because he was not being the best guy, if you get the point. And the judge told her, and I'm telling you fact, the magistrate told her, do you know what that name you got? Are you serious? Divorce denied.
Really? Oh, you shared that?
Yes. I could tell you more, but it's other people's business. Why? Because the estate. Because that's another way that they get the estate, by marrying into it. And this is again why the Daughters of the American Revolution, that marble building you see in Washington, D.C., why do you think that is the only organization that issues citizenship manuals? Do you think that's just happenstance? No. It's European daughters who can prove that they were descended from Moorish harems. That's a fact. And that manual is used all around the world. And gives you all fundamental civics. How many of you ever heard of or seen the DAR manual? DAR. Daughters of the American Revolution. Another reason. So your question is apropos, and from a political perspective, that is their motive now. If they want to survive both physically and politically, that's part of it. That's why you see what you're saying. But those who knew it was coming. Remember, Noble Drew Ali told you that the day will come that they'd be throwing their women at you. None of this stuff is news to those who know what's up.
Washington Tallman says, too late to try and amalgamate with our people. This hybrid experiment is over.
Well, doesn't Uranus and the sun say so also? Mm-hmm. Again, I said what I said for a purpose on multiple levels. But that's not to denigrate and that's not to condemn. It's just to observe. Mm-hmm. Also, for those of you who would do a further social political analysis of current events with that paradigm, that fake paradigm of color being continued, look at the different programs of the late programs where they had Asiatic Africans always doing black shows, what they call black shows. All kind of black shows.
Like the exploitation?
To promote the burial again. They don't know it's for burial.
What do you mean?
Whenever they create these shows and they talk about black this and black that, black this, and they do movies and shows, it's for burial. It's estate burial. Those who can read is go orthography. I'm telling you. See, a being who can read can see it. A being who can't read can't see it because they don't know the Edamon. They don't have a third grade Edamon degree. They don't even have a third grade Edamon degree. So you can put something in their face, and it's a contract, and they'll sign it. You tell them that you're going to kill you next week on Thursday. They say, "Oh wow, I'm getting free credit." And so, I'm telling you. What they said in that philosophy page, they meant it. The war is so beautiful, the attack is so effective that they call it beautiful.
Yeah. It'll do its beautiful thing.
The attack
Like
of the priest by the priesthood is so well grounded and clever and deceitful, great deceiver, that they called it beautiful.
Beautiful.
And called it a task. Beautiful task.
Yeah. The task we set before ourselves is very simple as well as a very
And so that's a
beautiful
missionary
one.
work, isn't it? It's a task.
Mm-hmm.
And they have what? Achieved their ends to a degree. But Uranus and Saturn got something else to say about that. Don't mean they didn't have fun for a while. Have fun. All they did was do what? They dug a lot of holes to bury a lot of people. They dug so many holes, they're backing into them. Put that way too, also. But you all already know what that reap what you sow means.
I don't know what they mean by looking up the McDonald's lawsuit. So they said look up the McDonald's lawsuit. But
I can't hear you.
Someone was saying to look up the McDonald's lawsuit. I don't know which lawsuit that is.
Oh, so now they know where Roe Racist Wade has really been serving over these decades. You know, these people haven't figured out how all these burger joints have popped up on every other within less than a mile of each other with multiple brands and how they can keep high stock. And yet children kept disappearing. And women, for the sake of, what do they call it? Women's liberation, have been helping in the genocide operation of getting rid of their own offspring, and turn around didn't know they were eating them also. Yeah, go look up that lawsuit. That's going to tell you a lot too. What we've been telling you for years that many of you probably didn't believe. Oh, by the way, they're going to be closing a lot of stores this year. Burger joints. Oh. You know, that years ago, this hybrid European used to come on. Where's the beef? People didn't know that the beef was actually people. Animal husbandry. You don't know that the farm is also the community. Farming humans. This stuff is far deeper than you thought it was, and it's more uncomfortable than you thought it was. However, with temperance, take the information as you get it and turn it into energy to make this place a better place for humanity. Help those who are helping you. Is there any others?
Let's see. Negam Bey Muxing Ali says history says 3% of the people fight and make change. Then those who fear to fight come out. When victory is assured, we deal with fear.
It's called the hunter's monkey theory, but it ain't a theory. But I'll say this much. Within the next few years, you won't have to worry about most of these institutions that you've gotten used to coming back, because most of them have run their course and will not only not come back, you will find that most of them were not even necessary in the first place, and they were actually part of the feeder programming. Now remember what I said to you, feeder programming. They haven't told you that publicly yet, but you're going to be hearing about it probably in the next year or maybe. I don't know. Somebody will start telling you.
What was
Feeder programs where you've been actually for generations been prepared as a food source on more levels than you thought. So when you read that philosophy page, you need to read it again and read between the lines.
Let me see if I have any question. This question, I think. Oh, here Mo West says, I heard y'all say Mexicans are Moors, but
Yes,
I
they are.
but I look more Albion.
So on Albion's amalgamated Moors, what's up with that? Is Mexico Al Moroccan? See, what people keep getting mixed up, they keep saying the hybrid is American, but then they turn around and act like Mexicans aren't Americans. So now they call somebody who's not American, and then try to deny the Al Moroccan pedigree to Aboriginal people. Mexicans are Aboriginal indigenous to this land. They are Al Moroccan. They are descendants of Moroccans. Al Moroccan is American. Come off it. Wake up. We're still doing a wake up. This is back to our earlier conversation. We're still in the process of still waking people up. It hasn't dawned on them yet really what's going on. Some of us are still hooked into the mind control programming. What do you think Olda Mexum is? Olmec is Olda Mexum. Get over it. Y'all need to grow up. But again, like I said before, this stuff's going to be happening so fast now, and so many institutions that have kept the people asleep, dumb, and distracted are being destroyed at such a rate that is being just poured out to you a little bit so you can handle it. But if you really saw what's going on behind the scene, most of you mentally wouldn't be able to handle it. That's why we've been telling you for years. Some of the things that we've been doing with you or speaking to you about are really for mental exercises to prepare you for other things that were quickly going to be coming upon you. Likewise, get prepared for some more stuff.
Sometimes, when you're going through a detox, well, most times,
that's what it is.
When you're going through a detoxification process, that Herkimer effect is you feel worse before you can feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what we're going to go for. And it's for some.
No, not that's that's
some
what we're going through.
Won't survive it. Some will break down. They think that it's the end. But it's,
that's again part of the caring for humanity, because if there wasn't love here for humanity, this stuff would just be blown out, and half of them be already gone. Even the fact that the hybrids also know that, which is really why they accelerated their kill machines on multi-level, but it was interrupted. People need to know a lot of things that this hybrid had already planned and initiated. He was interrupted. It wasn't that it wasn't already on the path. It wasn't that it wasn't rolled out. He was interrupted. However, it's like you can do what you can to aid and to support people in upliftment, but you can't make them want to be uplifted. Because at some point, nature takes over, and nature decides whether something has respect for its origin or not. All things that have no bond or honor to their origin, nature is going to find a way to get rid of it anyway. So this is an opportunity for those, like when you look at, and this is back to where the metaphor comes into what you would call a metaphysical reality, from the above to the below. So metaphysics is actually hex alpha. Metaphysics is the metaphysical operation that people try to make you think is totally separate. That which is above, so shall it be below. Therefore, those of you who really comprehend what's up will turn your hearts back to your ancient mothers and fathers, or experience the curse that's on Midgard, and you will be reaped by your own choice. So don't blame nobody else, and don't say that you haven't been told, because you have, and don't pretend you don't comprehend or understand, because you really do. That's not a judgment. That's just observational statement. Because the Son of Righteousness has arrived. They can call justice Jesus. They can call it Muhammad. They can call it Zakrib. They can call it Musa. Call it what you will. It's a recurring energy.
Roxy, Roxy, forgive me, I can't get all your application in. Wants to know where we can get a DAR manual. I know you can't really, they're not readily available, or are they two people, or are they? I know you had one.
Most people who've been traveling, if you know some people that come from other political jurisdictions, the test that they take when they get a green card is from a DAR manual. Just in case you didn't know that. Now, and because, but what they've done for the most part, when they have people coming from different areas, they will do a verbal civic test and questioning, etc. That's because most of the government platforms have been corrupted and colored and are prima facie. But the Daughters of American Revolution is Washington, D.C., is the DAR manual. And as a matter of fact, Brother Lamont has been actually teaching constitutional enforcement classes via the DAR manual. And of course, you already know I gave Tamara a DAR manual for her to share it with people. It's sort of like DAR manuals should be in all your little civic groups, because that's standard principles of citizenship and national principles. Universal, coming from Muslim law. And for those who are less familiar, Dolly Madison, you'll see her clothes. They even have her clothes on display, including her turban at Washington, D.C. It's never been a secret. You can't get in there now because they're locking that stuff down. Because that whole foreign territory is being fenced in. It's a political territorial issue. Now you're talking about territorial jurisdiction for absolute real. Now see how, as things have passed, they're being forced to do certain things that are very uncomfortable for the public, but the general public still have no idea what's really going on, and yet it's blatantly in their faces, including the POW wired inward arch fencing with barbed wire around the White House, and people still ain't caught on what the signal is.
Here's a question though. Bantu Mandigo said, well, isn't Black Law's dictionary dead?
Say it again?
Asking if Black's Law dictionary is dead, or stating, isn't it dead?
Dead?
I don't know what they mean by that.
I don't know.
Or are they saying like of no use?
Henry Campbell Black happens to be a translator, so he's one of the major author translators. But the principles of jurisprudence are ancient and modern. So I don't comprehend the question.
It's not. Can Aduke ask, can they make Washington D.C. a state?
No, it's a territory under Rome, under the Roman jurisdiction. From a political perspective, it would be called a foreign territorial outpost. That's a political fact.
He says that's what it's going to become.
No, that's what it is, and that's what it's been. That's what it was. Right now, it's in what you call war powers captivity. That's what defense represents. And that's what defense actually is, not so much what it represents. That means there's an act of war going on. The public's not being told bluntly what's going on. I'm telling you what's happening. Part of what's happening. I haven't told you all that's happening. I told you part. This is again why people in Washington that are domiciled in that area couldn't vote, because it's not a part of the legitimate republic union of states or states united. So they are by fact not in any form what you would call citizens of the republic. They actually would be under the jurisdictional powers of Rome.
Here's a question. Do we have two presidents now?
You got a president for the republic, which is being reinstated, which is Nassar and Gassar that you talked about earlier, and his name is Donald Trump. And you have a president of the failed and bankrupt foreign corporation under war powers operations under military guard known as Joseph Biden in a cloned protege puppet.
Okay. Jeff says, I recently heard a theory that wicked Moors who never fell from power are really running the world from behind the scenes using the hybrid Europeans as a front. Is there any truth to this?
There's always some truth to that. Not total, but it is some truth. Then you also have some, what you would say, off Midgard worlders who have been part of this crap.
Hmm. Someone wanted to know, Duke, is the White House shut down?
Like, really?
Sherman Story
It's
says,
under war powers and military operations under war powers. It's just not being told in the mainstream media, which you already understand, because the dark priesthood still controls the mainstream media.
Charmaine Stewart says the post office has POW flags at half mast.
Distinguishing
Why?
Postal Service. Keep that in mind.
Why? The question was, why?
Why they have not what?
Why do they have POW flags at half mast?
Again, war powers under military operations. For many of you, how many of you have noticed that many of your local post offices, that when you went there to get money orders, that they did not issue money orders and they sent you to a main office? Did any of you pay attention to that? They're not allowed to take any finance for no money orders. I'm just throwing something out there for you to look at.
We're at the
Again, things are occurring right in front of the people, but the people are being distracted by other things. You know what I mean, Dr. G?
Yes. I do know. I know every now and then we look at mainstream on YouTube just to see what narrative they're putting out. Just like we looked at that and picked out the obvious, like that's not logical. You know, it's not that lax. And even the people on guard, they look like they look like rent-a-cops or rent-a not cops, but secret
Well,
and put them in service.
you notice that none of them are wearing uniforms with
I mean, they're slovenly
flags on it.
and they're slovenly looking. Look like they look like if they
But
had to run somewhere, they couldn't run. To the
now you
point.
already know. You know what it is, and you know what it was before it even became public.
It's a joke.
The deal of it is, much of this stuff is a show for the public to keep you preoccupied on two fronts. One, to limit what you call disruption, social disruption, and two, while things are being put in place to take the place of some of these institutions that will be dismantled in both the educational format and in the economic format. So keep that in mind, you all. But anyway, I appreciate you all sharing with us again, and also recognize why I chose the title, A Metaphysical Analysis of Chapter 1 of the Circle 7 Quran, because it is metaphysical, i.e. metaphysical, etc. So anyway, so please support the House of Reawakening Minds. You can do that support via PayPal. You can do that support via CASHAPP or checks and money orders, and they will be payable to the House of Reawakening Minds and sent to 602 Vanderbilt Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, Republic, 19802. So thank you very much for sharing with us, etc. And also for those of you, make sure that you subscribe, help you to subscribe. And so Dr. G's, you already know, has a new YouTube channel. It's called Dr. G's Official.
Dr. G is official.
Dr. G is official. So that's capital DR, capital GIS, capital OFFICIAL. So that's YouTube requires at least 1,000 subscribers in order for the channel to go live. And so go and subscribe and help that out, because she's going to be bringing a lot of. We have actually a lot of people calling, even from other hot channels, that are going to come on Dr. G's, and so she's setting up this channel to make that available to you. And so subscribe, and it'll be linked down at the bottom. So check out on your screen.
You just have to
and look at that link. And so subscribe to Dr. G's new YouTube channel. Dr. G is official, and that's it in one word, etc. And subscribe. And thank you for your support for the House of Reawakening Minds. And so many of you from around the world have been supporting, and we appreciate you. And many of you have come on and have not. We appreciate you too. And business person being claiming to have taxing authority at all, whether it's a penny or whether it's more than a penny, the principle remains the same. If there is no counter or rebuttal to their position, which it has not been, particularly with our people, and particularly with many people among our people who have been involving the